Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 127, Late Again, Rosie. Rosie is a tank engine that works on the island of Sodor. When she first arrived on Sodor, she would either help at the quarry or shunt trucks in the yard. Rosie didn't like that very much, and after a few years of working on Sir Topham Hatt's railway, she was finally rewarded. Sir Topham Hatt gave her a coach, specifically Old Slow Coach. "You have worked very hard at the quarry," said Sir Topham Hatt, "and I am pleased to announce, Rosie, that Old Slow Coach is your coach." "Oh, thank you, sir," said Rosie. Where will I be working?" "You will help on Thomas's branch line," said Sir Topham Hatt, and Rosie was very happy indeed. The engines on Thomas's branch line were also very happy. Percy, Thomas, and Toby were very excited to have Rosie. "Welcome, Rosie, to the gang," he said, and Rosie was quite happy. Unfortunately for Rosie, however, she couldn't quite get used to the coach thing. She was constantly late wherever she went. Toby soon noticed this one day. They were all sitting at the station at 7:55, and their trains left at 8 o'clock. "Hey, Thomas," he said, "I've been noticing something about Rosie." "What?" asked Thomas. "It seems like everywhere she goes, she's always late. She's had Old Slow Coach for 2 months now, and it seems like she can never be on time." "I've noticed that too," said Thomas sadly. "Rosie's my friend and everything, but, man, if Sir Topham Hatt finds out about this, he'll surely take Old Slow Coach away." "You mean Sir Topham Hatt doesn't know about this?" said Percy. "No, I've kept kind of hush-hush about it. I want Rosie to succeed, but I feel like I've gotten to the point where Rosie needs to learn to be on time." "Exactly," said Toby. "Do you want Percy and I to talk to her?" "No," said Thomas. "I'll talk to her. If anybody needs to be the bad guy, it needs to be me." "All right," said Percy. "Whatever you say. Hey, it's 8 o'clock. We better leave. And Rosie's still not here." "I know," said Thomas. "Well, guys, we better leave. We don't want to be late." "Here I am," called a voice, and it was Rosie. She came racing around the bend. I'm here," she said. She raced down Henry's Tunnel and into the station. She was going so fast, however, that she slid right through the platform. "Oh, bother," said Toby. "This can't be good." Thomas was very cross. "Whoops," said Rosie. "Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm here, passengers. No need to fear." The passengers were cross. "You were almost late," they said. "I'm not late," said Rosie. "I'm right on time." "Actually," said Percy, "it's 8:01. You're 1 minute late." "1 minute late," said Rosie. "That won't hurt a bug." "A bug," said Thomas. "Huh, well then call me a bug." "Rosie, you need to learn to be on time, even if you're 1 minute late." "Whatever," said Rosie. "I'm on time nearly everywhere I go." "No," said Thomas. "Toby's been watching you, and so have I. You've been late nearly everywhere you've been for the past 2 months." "Really?" said Rosie. "I always thought I was on time." "Well, that's your problem," said Thomas. "Rosie, you need to get your act together. I've been keeping this quiet from Sir Topham Hatt, but unfortunately I can't do it anymore." You can't?" said Rosie. "No, you need to learn to be a very useful engine. You've worked on the railway for so many years, Rosie, and it'd be a shame to see you go back to the quarry or to the yard. Step up to the plate. Be a big engine for once." "All right," said Rosie. "I'll try. It's just I get distracted really easily. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, look, it's Trevor." "Hello, Trevor." "Hello," said Trevor. "Rosie," said Thomas, "you need to concentrate." "Sorry," said Rosie. I just get distracted really easily, and I don't mean to be late, Thomas." "I know you don't mean to be late," he said, "but as an engine with a coach, you can't be late. Do you understand?" "Yes," said Rosie. "I'll do my best." "All right," said Toby. "It's time we all got out of here, otherwise we're going to be very late." And Toby was off. "Toby's right," said Thomas. "Best we get out of here as well." And Thomas raced away with Annie and Clarabelle. "I gotta pull the mail," said Percy. "See you later." And Percy went around the bend. Rosie wanted to go as well, but her passengers were taking their time. "Hurry up," said Rosie. "I'm an on-time engine now." "An on-time engine," laughed the passengers. "Rosie, Thomas was right. You've been late since—" "Oh, please be quiet," said Rosie. "Just get an Old Slow Coach back there." "All right," said the passengers, and they did. Rosie started to pull away from the station. The train felt lighter than usual. "Hey, Old Slow Coach," he said. "Are you full?" "No," said Old Slow Coach. "I'm only about 3/4 full." "Huh," said Rosie. "That's strange. I always thought that our train was full in the morning." "Well, it used to be," said Old Slow Coach, "but I think we've been losing passengers." "I wonder why," said Rosie. Old Slow Coach smiled. "Rosie, it's what Thomas was talking about. Passengers don't want to ride on a late train. They want a train that's on time." "Okay," said Rosie, "but I wonder where the passengers have been going." "I think they've been going to the Little Western," said Old Slow Coach. "Why there?" said Rosie. "Because Oliver and Duck are always on time, and, well, like I said earlier, passengers want trains that are on time. If you want to keep your passengers and keep me, you need to learn to be on time." "I can do that," said Rosie, "but it's going to take some practice." And with that, she was off. Rosie was making good time as she made her way to Elsbridge Station. "You're doing just great," said Old Slow Coach. "Keep it up." "Oh, thank you," said Rosie. "Hey, look, it's Tiger Moth." Rosie stopped. "Come on," said Old Slow Coach. "We need to go, Rosie, otherwise we're going to be late." I know, said Rosie, but look, it's Tiger Moth. Hey, Tiger Moth, can you fly? Of course I can, said Tiger Moth. Watch me go. Whee! And he sped down the runway and flew into the air. Wow, she said, Tiger Moth is amazing. And look at him doing those tricks in the air. Oh, watch out, Tiger Moth. Phew, he almost hit Bowler there. Rosie, said Old Slow Coach, we need to go. All right, said Rosie, I'll just wait until Tiger Moth lands. All right, said Old Slow Coach, and they waited. And waited. And waited. Tiger Moth never came down. We need to go, said Old Slow Coach. You're running late now. I can make up for lost time. Ellsworth Station is right over there. Come on, said Old Slow Coach. We need to go. Finally, Tiger Moth landed. How was that, said Tiger Moth. Good, said Rosie. Hey, can you do another one? No, said Old Slow Coach, and she bumped Rosie. Rosie was shocked. Why would you do such a thing to me? We need to go. You're running extremely late now. Oh, right, said Rosie. She charged over the hill and went screaming through this fire station. Whee! She yelled. What was that about? Said Harold. I don't know, said Neville, but it looks like Rosie's having a good time. Rosie charged down the line. I'll make up for the lost time, she said. I will. Ellsworth Station was in sight when Rosie stopped. What's the matter now? Said Old Slow Coach. Oh, look, it's Bluebell and her calf. It looks like they're having a nice day. Rosie, said Old Slow Coach, you're almost there. Just focus. I don't know. I don't want to move. They might get scared and run away. And then when I come by for the afternoon train, they won't be here. Old Slow Coach was furious, but she knew she couldn't do anything. Oh, well, she said, I've done my best, and if Rosie doesn't want to go, Rosie doesn't have to go. A few minutes later, Bluebell and her calf wandered away, and Rosie made her way into Ellsworth Station. Uh-oh, she said, Sir Topham Hatt's here. What time is it? 8:45, said Bertie. Oh, no, I'm 15 minutes late. Hello, Rosie, said Sir Topham Hatt. It's 8:45. I thought your train gets in at 8:30. No, it doesn't, said Rosie. It doesn't? Well, what time does it get in? 8:45, said Rosie. I'm right on time. Shh! Come on, Sir Topham Hatt, you should know this. You would think I would, he said. I'm not so sure. Rosie's right, said Bertie. Rosie smiled. They changed it last week. Didn't you see it in the bulletin? No, said Sir Topham Hatt. I better go look for that bulletin. And he walked back into his office. That was a close one, said Bertie. Thank you, Bertie, said Rosie. That was a big help right there. Sir Topham Hatt would have gotten furious if he realized I was 15 minutes late. I've had enough of this, said Bertie. That's the 4th time I've covered for you this month. I'm sorry, Bertie, she said. It's just, I can't seem to be on time. You were doing fine earlier, said Old Slow Coach, and then you stopped for Tiger Moth and Bluebell. Really, said Bertie. Please, be quiet, Bertie, said Rosie. It's hard. I just can't keep focused, if you get my meaning. I understand, said Bertie. Well, you need to just be on time. You're right, said Rosie, and I'm going to do that right after I go by the quarry. Go by the quarry, said Old Slow Coach. We're going to Tidmouth, remember? Yeah, but I want to say hi to Bill and Ben. Oh, dear, said Bertie. We're not going by the quarry, said Old Slow Coach. Come on, Old Slow Coach. It wouldn't hurt that bad. No, said Old Slow Coach, and she gave Rosie a bump. Oh, okay, fine, said Rosie. I guess we're going to Tidmouth then. We are, said Old Slow Coach, and they puffed away. By the end of the day, the engines were resting peacefully at Knapford Station. I had a great day today, said Toby. So did I, said Percy. The mail ran flawlessly. Henrietta and I pulled lots of children around, said Toby. Thomas didn't say a word. Thomas, said Toby, it's your turn. Thomas was furious. Rosie's not here, he said. Her final train of the day, and she can't even be on time for that one. I wonder what happened today, said Percy. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt walked out of Knapford Station. Hello, everyone, he said. Hey, where's Rosie? Isn't she supposed to be here? Yes, said Thomas. She's not here. Is she late? I'm afraid so, sir, said Toby. Oh, well, she's very late, isn't she? Yes, said Percy. We've been waiting here for 20 minutes. Bother, said Sir Topham Hatt. Hey, Thomas, I have something to ask you. Yes, said Thomas. Did Rosie's morning train get switched from 8:30 to 8:45 at Ellsworth Station? No, said Thomas. It's supposed to be at 8:30. Sir Topham Hatt grew red in the face. Huh, he said. Well, I need to have a serious conversation with Rosie about this. Just then Rosie puffed in. She was very tired and looked very unhappy. There you are, Thomas whispered to Rosie. Where have you been? Nowhere, she said. What do you mean nowhere? You have to have been somewhere. I was watching the new jet engine at the runway. He was making takeoffs and landings. It was very exciting. Oh, bother, said Percy. You got distracted by that. It's cool, said Rosie. Uh-oh, what's Sir Topham Hatt doing here? He's come to talk to you, said Thomas. Rosie, said Sir Topham Hatt. Yes, sir, said Rosie. I'm very disappointed in you. First off, you were 15 minutes late this morning. 15 minutes late, said Thomas. Sorry, said Rosie. I got distracted. By a lot, said Toby, but he said it to himself. And then secondly, you lied to me. Rosie, what's the deal here? Nothing, it's just, I'm trying my best, sir. Well, you're obviously not trying hard enough, said Sir Topham Hatt. I looked back at the records for the past 2 months. It seems as though you've been late to every single station. I have? Said Rosie, trying to sound astounded. Yes, said Sir Topham Hatt. I'm not... I don't know what to say. I'm sorry, sir, said Rosie. I've tried my best. But Sir Topham Hatt was not buying it. Rosie, from the day I gave you Old Slowcoach, you should have known about this. I'm not impressed with you at all, and I'm very, very disappointed. Sorry, sir, said Rosie. I don't know what else to do, sir, but I'm sorry. Sir Topham Hatt was cross. You get one more chance, he said, and if you're late ever again, I'm taking Old Slowcoach away. Late ever again? Yes, a really useful engine is not late. Do you understand? Yes, sir, said Rosie, and Sir Topham Hatt walked away. Thomas, said Rosie, I'm sorry, but Thomas wouldn't have it. Rosie, you can say sorry all you want, he said, but now you've brought Sir Topham Hatt into this, and I can't cover for you anymore. I saw Bertie earlier today, and he said that he's been covering you all month. Yeah, said Rosie, about that. That's just not right, said Toby. Rosie, if you want to keep Old Slowcoach, then be on time. If you don't want to be on time, then, well, you can go back to the quarry, I guess. I want to keep Old Slowcoach, she said, but I just don't know what to do. Well, you need to think about this, said Thomas. I'm done covering for you. Bertie's done covering for you. You're on your own now. Rosie felt very sad. Yes, Thomas, she said. Now let's go off to the sheds, said Thomas. We have a very early day tomorrow. And with that, the engines were off. But Rosie stayed at the station. Come on, said Old Slowcoach. We need to go back to the yard. Rosie was very tired. I don't know, she said. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this whole branch line thing. Well, said Old Slowcoach, you just need to try harder. I've tried my hardest. It's not my fault that I keep on getting distracted. I don't know what to do, Old Slowcoach. I really don't. And with that, Rosie felt very sad. Old Slowcoach tried to comfort her, but it was no use. Rosie stayed there all night and was very sad. She was so sad that she forgot to go back to the shed, and soon she was asleep. The next morning, Thomas was on his way to Knapford Station when he saw something in the distance. Huh, he said. Wonder what that is over there. Thomas raced down Henry's tunnel and came to inspect. It was Rosie. Rosie, said Thomas, what are you doing here? Rosie woke with a start. Whoa, she said. Oh, hi, Thomas. How are you doing? Just then Percy arrived. Hello, Rosie, said Percy. It's nice to see you here bright and early. Yes, said Rosie. Yeah, what are you doing here bright and early, said Thomas. Just then Toby arrived. Hello, everyone, said Toby. Well, Rosie, nice to see you here on time. I get it, said Rosie. Well, Rosie, said Thomas, what are you doing here on time? I really don't remember, said Rosie, and that was the truth. She had fallen asleep at Knapford Station, and she didn't know what she was doing. Old Slowcoach had to cover. Rosie, said Old Slowcoach, has decided to sleep here at Knapford Station every night. Really, said Percy. Really, said Rosie. Really, said Thomas. Yes, indeed, said Old Slowcoach. Rosie wants to be on time everywhere she goes, so, well, if she's on time for the first train in the morning, then, well, it only makes sense that all other trains are on time. That does make sense, said Toby. Well, Rosie, you certainly seem to be wanting to prove yourself. I do want to prove myself, said Rosie. I love working on this branch line. Huh, said Thomas. Well, we'll see about that. It was 7:55, and Rosie was on time. Sir Topham Hatt stepped out of his office. Well, said Sir Topham Hatt, Rosie, I am quite impressed. I thought I was going to have to take Old Slowcoach away from you, but if you're here on time, I can't do it right now. Just be on time for the rest of the day, and, well, you might have got something good up your sleeve. Yes, sir, said Rosie, and Sir Topham Hatt walked away. Rosie, said Percy, I'm very impressed. I'm impressed too, said Thomas. You certainly love this branch line a lot, and if you're willing to put this much dedication and hard work into making sure that you're on time, well, I don't see how I could be mad with that. Soon it was 8 o'clock, and all the passengers were in the coaches. All right, said Thomas, looks like we're off. We're all going to go off today, said Toby. Yep, said Percy, the 4 of us. Rosie felt very proud. Thank you guys for helping me, she said. No problem at all, said Thomas. Percy, you go first. All right, said Percy, and he puffed away with the mail. Toby went off as well. You ready, Rosie? Said Thomas. Yes, said Rosie, I am. Thomas thundered out of Knapford Station, and Rosie puffed slowly behind with Old Slowcoach. Thank you, Old Slowcoach, she said. No problem, said Old Slowcoach. Now let's go catch Thomas. Maybe he wants to race or something like that. Maybe he does, laughed Rosie, and with that she puffed away. It feels good to be a really useful engine, she said, on a really useful branch line.